Are you ready for the longest combo chain in the entire cEDH format? Here comes a Momir hackball deck tech video. This Simic guild leader isn't the top tier #1 combo deck you can build in this format. He is somewhere around semi-competitive level. Now let's begin by showcasing the really long combo chain. It all begins with a hack effect, like for example Sleight of Mind. We're gonna be looking at different hack effects later in the video, but what is this actually going to do? So Momir has two texts. Whenever you cast a green creature, you may search your library for a creature card and put that creature card on top of your library. Whenever you cast a blue creature, you may flip the top card of your library. If that is a creature, you may put it into your hand. So if you cast a blue-green creature, you may stack the different triggers. So you search your library for a creature card, you put that on top of your library, then you flip a creature card, the one that you search for, and then you put it into your hand. So basically cast a Simic creature, search a library for a creature and put it into your hand. You basically get both effects, and this is where Sleight of Mind comes into great genius battle plans. So you cast Sleight of Mind, you target Momir's secondary ability, and you hack the game like a true computer nerd. And you change the text from blue to green, so now whenever you cast a green creature, you get both effects. So now you cast whatever green creature, preferably an elf for 1 mana like a land or elf, and you get both triggers. You now search a library for Heritage Druid, you put that one on top of your deck, then the secondary ability triggered because you've hacked the game, you flip Heritage Druid and you put it into your hand, and then you cast it for 1 green mana. The creature that you find with your Heritage Druid is Nettle Sentinel, and I think you've seen this trick before somewhere else. So now you have Nettle Sentinel in your hand, Heritage Druid in play, you activated the Druid ignoring Summoning Sickness by tapping Heritage Druid, your land or elf that you casted earlier, and your Momir. Then you spend 1 of that green mana to cast the Nettle Sentinel and you get triggers again from the Simic Hacker. This time we're gonna find Phantasmal Image, a blue creature, so we won't gain any triggers whatsoever from our Simic Hacker. However, when this comes into play, we will copy and gain 2 Nettle Sentinels. Hold on now, we actually need some blue mana here, so let's backtrack and see how we can actually solve this. Here I got 2 elves, Birchlore Ranger and Quarium Ranger. 2 creatures we can fetch with our genius hacker. So what do these elves actually do? So the Birchlore Ranger is something of a Heritage Druid. You may tap 2 untapped elves, ignoring Summoning Sickness, to add 1 mana of any color. You're going minus mana, you're tapping 2 but you're gaining 1, but you gain whatever you want, so you gain blue. The Quarium Ranger, you can return a forest back to your hand to untap a creature, and that is great. With the help of Birchlore Ranger, we will get the blue mana so we can cast Phantasmal Image to get 2 copies of Nettle Sentinel. And with the help from Quarium Ranger and also Wirewood Symbiote, both of them actually ignore Summoning Sickness, you can return a forest to untap a creature, and you can return an elf, for example the Quarium Ranger, to untap another creature. So with these and the other creatures that are tapping elves for mana, you basically build a ritual effect. So you're getting the mana you need to both cast Phantasmal Image, but also bouncing an elf back to your hand with Wirewood Symbiote, so you get a secondary trigger because you don't get a trigger from the Phantasmal Image, but from the elf you recast the one that you bounce with Wirewood Symbiote. For example, you bounce Aquarium Rangers, you can bounce another forest. A lot of rituals here. So now you can continue searching even after casting the Phantasmal Image. So once we've assembled this, we can basically ritual through our deck and building a huge amount of green mana. It will go like this. Cast Fyndhorn Elf. You will untap your Nettle Sentinels. Tap Nettle Sentinels and the Fyndhorn Elf, activating Heritage Druid. Gain 3 green mana. But when you've casted your Fyndhorn Elf, you will also get a trigger from your commander finding, let's say, Elvish Visionary, or Elvish Mystic, or Llanowar Elf, or Boreal Druid. You cast your Boreal Druid, untapping your Nettle Sentinels, getting a trigger from your commander, putting the Boreal Druid into play, tapping that one, or actually activating the Heritage Druid by tapping the Nettle Sentinels and Boreal Druid, and you go through your entire deck until you've basically assembled a huge amount of green mana. This takes us to the next step, the infinite mana step, and here we're gonna need Temur Sabertooth. This is the last creature you search for after you've built up all that mana with generating a lot of ritual elves. So let's actually talk a little bit about Wire Symbiote, because that card is key here, and it's also key to understand how Magic the Gathering functions. So Wirewood Symbiote's ability can only be activated once each turn, but you're able to bypass that and activate it once more if you remove it from the game and put it back into play. For example, returning it back into your hand and recasting it, flickering it, putting it into your graveyard and reanimating it. All of that will become a new Wirewood Symbiote, a one that hasn't been activated. It's the same card, but it's a new symbiote on the battlefield. So when you return this bug with Temur Sabertooth to your hand and you recast it, you will get new triggers from your commander, but you will also be able to activate the symbiote once more. By activating the symbiote, you return an elf to your hand that you also cast. Casting both the Wirewood Symbiote and the elf that you return will untap both of your Nettle Sentinels, and you can tap the mana dork that you return for 3 green mana, and then you bounce another dork that is tapped, and from here you basically build a ritual. You will spend 3 green mana, 1 generic, to generate 6 green mana, going infinite. This also means we have infinite untaps, and that means we also have infinite blue mana. We can basically net the infinite green mana into infinite blue mana with Birchlore Rangers as well. For example, you could have Walking Ballista inside your deck. Cast a green creature. You will get both triggers. First, you search a library for the Walking Ballista and put it on top of your deck. Then you get a second trigger to reveal the top card of your library. If that is a creature, which it is, you may put it into your hand. Then with your infinite mana, cast Walking Ballista as infinite and do infinite damage to your opponents and win the game. Also, if your deck contains Elvish Visionary with your infinite mana and your Temur Sabertooth, you could recast the Elvish Visionary infinitely, or not infinitely, you're gonna die, but enough so you basically draw your entire deck. So now you have your entire deck in your hand and you have infinite mana. And from here you could basically just cast Thassa's Oracle and claim the win. I don't really recommend this one, because I think there are better ways to actually win the game once you have infinite mana with this deck. If your deck, for example, contains Spell Seeker, which it should do, Spell Seeker is great for this deck. It's a creature that will find a Sleight of Mind, the hack effect that we need to win the game. Also, it's a creature that can find counter spells, Cyclonic Rift, etc. It's a great card for this deck. And you could find some form of instant and sorcery that will help you win the game. And then with Eternal Witness, you can bounce that spell up and down, recasting it infinitely with your infinite mana. Remember, with Temur Sabertooth, you can return Eternal Witness and recast it over and over. For example, Spell Seeker could find Final of Devastation. With your Temur Sabertooth, return all your creatures back to your hand that are tapped. Recast them one by one so they enter battlefield untapped. Then cast Final of Devastation X equal infinite. All your creatures are gonna get haste from the Final of Devastation, but also plus infinite, attack and win. Or Spellseeker finds Winds of Rebuke. You cast Winds of Rebuke, bouncing something of your opponents, and each player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. Then you cast Eternal Witness, return Winds of Rebuke back to your hand. Cast Winds of Rebuke, targeting your Eternal Witness. Every player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. Repeat this over and over, casting and recasting Winds of Rebuke and Eternal Witness until all of your opponent's libraries are gone, then pass turn. This is probably the best combo finisher because Winds of Rebuke is a really good card in general. It's an instant speed interaction, a spot removal against combos out there. So it's a good card you should consider as your win con if you're building hackball. Let's proceed with the next part of this video, various hack effects that will win the game with our Simic Hacker Genius. Here I have Vizier of the Menagerie and Painter's Servant. Painter's Servant is now legal, yay! So what are these 2 creatures actually gonna do? So Vizier of the Menagerie lets you play creature cards from the top of your library, and you may look of course at the top of your library. So if you for example cast a, let's say, Llanowar Elf, you will get a trigger from the Momir Vig. You may now search your library for any creature card whatsoever. Let's go with Heritage Druid and put that on top of your library. Now, because of Vizier of the Menagerie, you are now allowed to cast Heritage Druid from the top of your library. So Vizier of the Menagerie becomes another hack effect. This is also a really good hack effect in general, because if you don't have your commander in play and we are running a huge creature deck in general, this could turn out to be a huge value engine card drawing producing card. So this is good in the deck anyways. It's something the deck will like. Also, if you for example cast your commander and then you cast your Sleight of Mind and someone destroys your commander, because that is the right thing to do in that situation, you will lose both cards. But if you cast Vizier of the Menagerie, they could either kill the Vizier of the Menagerie or your commander, which means you're not losing all that much value. As Painter Servant comes into play, say the color of blue. All cards in the entire game are now blue in addition to their other colors. So when you cast your Heritage Druid, that is now a blue and green creature, you will get both triggers from the Momir Vig, which was the original ID with the hack effect Sleight of Mind. Oh yeah, by the way, remember the part where we had to assemble 2 Nettle Sentinels and we used Phantasmal Image to have 2 Nettle Sentinels, and we used Birchlaw Rangers in order to get blue mana so we could cast the thing. We could use Vizier of the Menagerie here as well. Here I have 2 hack effects that are gonna function for this deck as well. Glimpse of Nature is a 1 green mana sorcery that lets you draw a card whenever you cast a creature spell this turn only. But for 4 mana you can have a Beast Whisperer, a 2/2 that will draw a card whenever you cast a creature spell. This is a permanent that will stick on forever. Now, when you cast your Boreal Druid, you trigger, search a library for that Heritage Druid and put it on top of your deck. Then, because you're allowed to stack triggers the way you choose, let the trigger from the Beast Whisper happen after Momir Vig, so now you draw your Heritage Druid, turning this into a functional hack effect. Now, there are other hack effects that are available for Momir Vig, but there's one thing I would like to mention. You shouldn't play all of them. Let me showcase this, and also why I think Patron Servant is a great card for Momir Vig. So cast a Llanowar Elf, a random whatever green creature, you get a Momir Vig trigger. Search your library for the Painter Servant, yes! And then you will draw that card whenever you draw a card, basically the next turn. If you have a Preordain, you can cast the Preordain, draw the Painter Servant, cast the Painter Servant, and then you get on going. You don't get the Momir Vig trigger by casting the Painter Servant, so if you have a secondary green creature in your hand, you're ready to go off that turn. But this is also where the deck becomes really consistent. You basically need your commander in play and whatever green creature that you can cast from your hand to assemble your combo. However, this is where the deck becomes really telegraphed. You have to reveal the card you search for and put on top of your deck. And if you've played against this deck once, you know exactly how to deal with it. And the best way of dealing with this deck is to kill the commander ongoingly. And this is why this deck is somewhere around semi-competitive level, because it's really commander dependent and the combo is really telegraphed. But this Simic Elvish mastermind that is really good at combining several features and creating mutants is something of a toolboxing commander. For example, if you need to get rid of one specific commander your opponent controls or a specific hate bear your opponent controls, cast whatever green creature, search your library for the Gilded Drake. Now you can use the Gilded Drake to remove that. This basically turns the Momir Vig into a toolboxing commander. If there is a really annoying artifact in play or an enchantment you need to destroy, you can toolbox and find the Reclamation Sage. This is also an elf, by the way, so you could use this later with your Heritage Druid to gain mana as well. So even though this commander has a lot of weaknesses, this commander has a huge grafting, bioman's creative toolboxing abilities, which lets him basically adapt, which is basically what Simic is kinda doing. They are adapting themselves, they are the evolution. Okay, in any case, this commander is really good at fighting against a lot of different variations of decks because of the toolboxing and adaptiveness that he has. And this is where this deck hackball could grow in power level, because if Wizard of the Coast, let's say, print a new hate bear, a green or blue hate bear, or an artifact hate bear for that matter, that is gonna be really good, then this deck's toolboxing power, the adaptiveness, is gonna grow. To give you an example, hackball has actually existed for a really long time. It's an old deck now, and it existed before Vizier of the Menagerie existed, and also before Spellseeker existed, and both of these two cards were huge upgrades for the deck. Now, I've actually never played this deck, but I've played against it quite a lot. A friend of mine really likes this deck and plays it quite often, so I know quite a lot about how to defeat this deck. I really recommend killing the commander over and over. That really seems to do the job. But if you want to know how my friend's deck list actually looks like, I will share a link to that in the description below of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do, feel free to share my videos or even checking out my Patreon page. Also, purchasing cards from the TCG Players website using the affiliate link down below will also help this channel grow. So a big thank you to all of you.